Hello, hello. Welcome to part 3 of my new IKEA PAX closet system organization. Part 1, we tackled clothing. Last week, part 2, we organized, decluttered all of my cosmetic complexion products in one drawer. And today, we are tackling eyeshadow. Oh my gosh, I have a true weakness for eyeshadow. This is a big category. We have a lot to get through. One quick note about last week's video. I completely forgot to include L'Oreal foundations. And the reason for that is I have been collecting all of the L'Oreal foundations, storing them in this little box because I am planning a L'Oreal foundation roundup and ranking video, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. Anyway, the reason I am doing this series is because my makeup has been stored all over my tiny 400 square foot house, in boxes, on shelves, cluttering my desktop and vanity. I really need to get my makeup organized all in one place so it doesn't go unused, forgotten, and unloved. Anyway, we have a lot to get through. This might be a longer video. I will put timestamps in the description box below. So grab yourself a beverage, throw this video a thumbs up, and let's do it. Starting in the back, we have eye pencils, mostly drugstore affordable, L'Oreal, NYX, Milani, Pixie, several Sephora collection. I do keep my most used eye pencils in my everyday makeup basket next to my vanity, but I do like having a variety of shades. I have some greens, some blues, some plums. These aren't going anywhere. Next up, eye crayons. These are all my Laura Mercier eye crayons in a variety of shades. I can thank Shelby Wilson for my Laura Mercier collection, but they really are very nice, long-lasting, very blendable. A little on the pricey side, but they are really nice. These are definitely keepers. I have one Sephora collection eye crayon. This is in the color khaki. Much more affordable than Laura Mercier. Love that. And last winter, I picked up this Bobbi Brown Soho Glow mini trio of eye crayons. You know how much I love minis. You know, it's such a great value, $29 for 3 eye crayons when normally the Bobbi Brown and the Laura Mercier are about $30 for a full size. It's going to take me forever to use this up. I always recommend purchasing minis. Speaking of minis, I also picked up this Nude Sticks trio of minis, I think at a Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale. Also really, really lovely. Definitely keeping these. A couple more one and done eyeshadows. These are the Giorgio Armani Eye Tint, long-lasting liquid eyeshadow. I can thank Stephanie Marie for these. She used to rave about these all the time. I have it in the shade Rose Ashes and Cold Copper. This is the older packaging, so I have had these for several years. I've never gotten that much use out of Rose Ashes. It just doesn't show up for me very much. So I am decluttering this, but I am going to hang on to the Cold Copper. It is really, really, really pretty. Long lasting, easy to use, a really nice one and done eyeshadow. My only other liquid eyeshadows are much more affordable than the Giorgio Armani. These are the Ulta Beauty Matte Cream Eyeshadows. I have it in Vintage Beauty, Flower Child, and Game Over. I purchased these on the recommendation of Amanda Z, a darling younger YouTuber. She's sort of the cream eyeshadow queen. These are really easy to apply and to blend, very long lasting, and super, super affordable. I will link her video if you would like to see these eyeshadows in action. More Ulta Beauty singles. These are their Bouncy Cream eyeshadows. I have it in the shade Macaroon and Maple Pecan. Again, I can thank Amanda Z. I love the spongy, bouncy texture of these. Super, super pretty. Very long lasting and very, very affordable. So I am definitely hanging on to these. Definitely my most reached for cream eyeshadow, unfortunately also one of the most expensive, is the Charlotte Tilbury Cream Eyeshadow in the shade Oyster Pearl. I love the moussey texture. It applies like a dream. Super, super easy for an out-the-door, fast, one-and-done look. Charlotte Tilbury Oyster Pearl is a keeper for sure. On the much more affordable side are two Revlon Color Stay Cream eyeshadows. I have it in the shade Black Currant and Praline Pecan. Praline Pecan is drying out a little bit, but the Black Currant is still super silky. That's what they look like. And I hope you can see they are just really, really pretty, long-lasting, easy cream eyeshadows. I especially love the shade of this Black Currant. I showed these products in action in a one-and-done video that I posted last year. I will link it below. Giorgio Armani Cold Copper. These are the Ulta Bouncy Cream Shadows. That is Charlotte Tilbury. And these are the Revlon Color Stay. Another super affordable classic drugstore cream eyeshadow is this Maybelline Color Tattoo cream eyeshadow in the shade Bad to the Bronze. Unfortunately, this has dried out quite a bit, but I think you can see it's a really, really pretty color, somewhat similar to the Charlotte Tilbury, but it really has dried out quite a bit, so this is being decluttered, but I do recommend it. My most recent cream eyeshadow purchase, and unfortunately the most disappointing, is this Burt's Bees Color Nurture in the shade Rose Cream. The shade is really, really pretty. Unfortunately, the texture is very, very thin, and it just doesn't show up on my eyelids. Plus, it's really not long lasting. I don't know. Can you see that? It really hardly shows up at all. Not long lasting. This was a disappointment. Burt's Bees Cream Nurture Rose Cream is being decluttered. So that is it for crayons, liquids, cream pots. One and done, done. All right, this back box will fit some of my longer, larger palettes perfectly. Starting with the e.l.f. The New Classics. Super, super affordable. Wide range of neutrals, nice mix of mattes and shimmers, and I love these two pops of color, these two green satiny shimmers. I have to admit, this got buried. I really haven't used it very much, but I am excited to play with it and get to know it better. Another super popular palette and incredibly affordable. This Profusion 10 pan palette is well under $10 at Walmart. You know, the formula is really nice. These shimmers are very buttery. The mattes, you know, everything is a little bit powdery, but they apply really nicely. You can see that one did break. Anyway, nothing wrong with the quality, especially for under $10. I ordered this online. They do have a variety of color stories. I thought this was going to be a little bit more neutral than it is. Unfortunately, this gold and peach and orange color story is just a little too warm for my cool neutral preferences, so this palette is being rehomed. One of my newer eyeshadow palettes is this Sigma New Mod eyeshadow palette. This is the first Sigma eyeshadow palette I ever purchased when they were having a 30% off sale a few months ago. A little bit higher on the price point, but they do have frequent sales, and it comes with one of their famous brushes. Anyway, this color story is right up my alley, and I absolutely fell in love with the formula. I have a whole video where I swatched and did a demonstration with this eyeshadow palette. I was so impressed with Sigma, and when I learned that they are a local company based here in my hometown of Minneapolis, so earlier this summer I was really excited to attend a launch party. I met the owners, I met the team, I met some other YouTubers, and as part of my welcome package, they gifted me these two gorgeous full-sized palettes. This Sigma Enchanted palette is another palette right up my alley, 14 shades. Again, it comes with a brush. I'm looking forward to playing with that. And this warm neutral palette looks perfect for fall. But again, I'm more of a cool neutral gal, and this palette is a little bit on the warmer side, so I haven't touched it. I saved the box, And this beautiful warm neutral palette is going to be in a giveaway. I will have some details in the giveaway at the end of this video. Last year during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, I purchased my first Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. This is the Norvina palette. 7 shimmers, 7 mattes. Again, it comes with a brush. Oh my gosh, I really love this palette. I love the pinks, I love the purples. The formula is fantastic. Like I said, my first ABH palette, and I absolutely love it. My newest palette that I just purchased a couple of weeks ago is this ABH Nouveau. To me, this just screams fall. Nice murky mattes. I know I like the ABH formula. Yes, this does have a couple of warmer shades I probably won't use, but I'm really, really excited to use some of these bronzes and greens. I haven't played with it yet, but you will be seeing this in an upcoming fall makeup look. ABH Nouveau. Sigma also gifted me their new mini eyeshadow palettes. You know how much I love minis. Sigma has 4 mini eyeshadow palettes based on their full-size palettes. Now their full-size palettes are 14 shades and these minis are 7 shades each. This is Sigma Core de Rosa, Sigma Ambiance. I haven't touched this one either yet because again, I think this is probably a little bit too gold toned for my preference. So this is also going to be in the giveaway. Sigma Warm Neutrals. Now this to me doesn't look quite as warm as the full-size palette. I think I can use that pink and some nice neutral browns. So I am going to play with the Sigma Warm Neutrals Mini, and the full-size Warm Neutral will be in the giveaway. And lastly is the Sigma Enchanted Mini. Oh my gosh, I have used the heck out of this since I got it. You know, I feel like I'm just a little bit more comfortable with mini palettes than I am full size. I do need to play with that full size palette more, but I would be perfectly happy with this. This is a beautiful, beautiful palette and I absolutely love it. So these 3 minis will fit right there, and the Sigma Ambiance is going into the giveaway pile. Moving on to box number 3. You know, this Rephyr palette organizer fits my smaller square shaped palettes perfectly. First up, ColourPop All Amethyst. My gosh, ColourPop has to be one of the best, if not the best, affordable formulas around. Pigmented, blendable, long-lasting. And look at these gorgeous, gorgeous colors. You know, I purchased this last spring. I really wanted to do a spring pastel eye look video. I actually filmed it a couple of times. I had so many technical difficulties, it never got posted, but I absolutely love this palette. I love the shades, I love the formula, and this is definitely a keeper. Another super affordable palette and a surprisingly good formula for well under $10 is this WetNWild Always Naked. I featured it in a video a couple of months ago. I really love this very neutral palette. Not too cool, not too warm, truly neutral. But I have to say, WetNWild has some of the worst packaging around. It falls apart almost immediately. Anyway, I enjoyed this palette so much that I went back to the store and I picked up the other color story, the WetNWild Always Blushed. I thought this would be right up my alley with the pinks and the plums and the mauves, but for some reason it just doesn't work for me. I think these purples might be a little bit more difficult to formulate. This palette, the color is just sort of muddy on me. I find it difficult to work with. I love the Always Naked, not so much the Always Blushed. So Always Blushed is being decluttered. One of my most used eyeshadow palettes for sure. This is the only eyeshadow palette I have completely used up and actually repurchased, and it is the iconic Tarte Tartelette Bloom 12-pan palette, mostly mattes, good variety of light, medium, and deep tones. Like I said, it is just the easiest, prettiest, everyday go-to neutral palette. I've taken it traveling. If I lost this, I would absolutely go out and repurchase. Tarte Tartelette Bloom, absolutely Love it. Another iconic palette I have talked about many times is the Too Faced Natural Eyes. In fact, I think this is even easier and more foolproof than the Tartelette and Bloom. It is very, very neutral, and there's only 9 pans. And it has a really lovely mix of mattes and shimmers. And these soft satin shimmers are so pretty on mature eyes. This matte called Strip Poker is one of my very favorite, most used transition shades. And this soft shell pink satin, Silk Teddy, is one of my all-time favorite lid shades. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I think this is such a versatile palette. I used it on my niece for her garden wedding when she wanted a very natural look, and I also used it on my 77-year-old aunt for one of her reunions. This is not going anywhere. It's one of my all-time easy go-to everyday neutral eyeshadows. The only thing I don't absolutely love about it is the packaging. Yes, the packaging is super pretty, and it's very, very sturdy, but it is curved. It is impossible to stack, and it does not fit in my eyeshadow palette holder. So this is going there. Speaking of Tarte and Too Faced, these are my only 2 100% matte palettes. I purchased these palettes a long time ago when I thought because my eyelids were older, I had to use all matte eyeshadows. I have since found that I really do enjoy satins and shimmers, and I just don't reach for either one of these that often. So let's look at the Too Faced first. Again, very similar to this Natural Eyes, but this does have some slightly more mauve tones. It also has some slightly peachier tones. I think I am going to hang on to this because the colors aren't identical to the Too Faced Natural Eyes. I am going to hang on to this. As far as the Tarte All Matte palette, I literally never reach for this. I will always reach for the Tartelette and Bloom over this one simply because of the shimmers. Yes, the formula is beautiful. The shades are really pretty, but I literally have all these shades in other palettes. So as pretty as this is, I never reach for it. This is being decluttered. After talking about 100% matte eyeshadows, you are going to be shocked to see the Flower Beauty Jungle Lights 100% super shiny metallic palette. I don't know what got into me about a year ago or 2. I purchased not just this one, but also the Flower Beauty Desert Lights palette. I right away gave the Desert Lights palette to my daughter, who absolutely rocks the shiny metallic shimmers. But I hung on to this one because this green, this purple, this mauve, oh my gosh, so pretty. My fantasy self would absolutely love to wear these, but my real everyday natural neutral 62-year-old self, I haven't used this palette one time. So this is also going to my daughter, and I know she will absolutely rock it. Another favorite palette I have talked about many times is the Persona Identity palette. Beautiful mix of mattes and shimmers. These mattes, super blendable, pigmented, long-lasting, never any fallout. And these shimmers are so pretty on mature eyes. All of these shades make beautiful one and done eyeshadow looks. Again, I absolutely love this palette. It is a palette I take traveling with me. It is foolproof. When and if I finally pan this palette, I will absolutely repurchase it. It is one of my favorites. Persona Identity palette is going nowhere. Another Tarte palette. I picked this up when Tarte was having a full face of makeup sale where you selected 5 products. I think it was something crazy like $50. Anyway, the eyeshadow palette that I chose as part of the full face package is this Tarte Leave Your Mark Volume 2. Right up my alley with the pinks and the plums and the taupes. It even comes with a blush. If Tarte has another full face sale, I highly recommend it. I absolutely fell in love with the tinted hydrator, the cream bronzer, and the juicy lip that I picked up as part of that package. I really think Tarte is making a comeback. They just came out with the larger Man-Eater palette. It's getting rave reviews, but it looks a little bit too warm and a little bit too deep toned for me, so I will not be picking that up. But I really do love Tarte, and I'm happy to have this cute little palette. Another palette Sigma gifted me as part of my welcome PR package is this darling 9-pan Ritzy palette. It comes in cardboard packaging, no mirror. You know, mirrors in palettes are meaningless to me because I can't see out of anything, so I don't really mention mirrors when I talk about palettes. But this palette is such a nice, neutral mix of mattes and shimmers. It sort of reminds me of the ABH Sultry palette that everybody was so in love with a few years ago that has been discontinued. I can't wait to play with this. I think this is a really beautiful, cool, toned, neutral palette. Absolutely gorgeous. Super grateful to have it. I have been hearing rave reviews about the Viseart eyeshadow formula for years and years and years. My good friend Kiki, who has the channel The Hooded Lid, did a review and several looks with this Cashmerie eyeshadow palette, and I knew I had to have it. So I finally ordered this and picked it up last winter during a sale, and I absolutely love it. The formula is every bit as good as they say. This color story is right up my alley. Look at these gorgeous, gorgeous shimmers. So smooth, so pretty. Any one of these could be a one and done, but they go so well with all the mattes in this package. Anyway, I also think the packaging is beautiful. It's compact, it's cardboard. So thank you, Kiki, for helping me choose the perfect Viseart eyeshadow palette. Natasha Denona, another very pricey eyeshadow line with an iconic formula that everybody raves about. I have both the Glam and the Retro. I picked up the Glam first at a Sephora sale a couple of years ago, and yes, this cool neutral color story is right up my alley. Nice mix of mattes and shimmers. The shimmers are gorgeous. Some are a little more on the satin side and some are a little bit more on the shimmer side, but there are no super metallics in here. The mattes are super pigmented. You really have to be careful and go in very slowly or you can get yourself in trouble. Natasha Denona Glam, super pretty, very much enjoy it. Having said that, I also picked up the Natasha Denona Glam Mini. Now, interestingly enough about Natasha Denona, she has mini eyeshadow palettes that correspond to her full-size palettes, but none of the colors are the same. So even though this is called the Natasha Denona Mini Glam, there are no repeat colors. And not surprisingly, I tend to reach more for the mini than the full size. It's just so much more approachable. I don't know. You know how much I love minis. So I have both the Natasha Denona Mini and the Natasha Denona Mid-Sized Glam Palette. Both gorgeous. The Natasha Denona Retro Palette was on my wish list for a super long time. I love the pinks and the purples, but the intensity of this color story sort of scared me. Then when I was visiting Kiki last winter, she did my makeup using the Retro palette. I fell in love with it and had to have it, so I did pick this up last spring during the Sephora sale, and I'm super happy to have it. I will link a couple of videos showing this palette in action. It is absolutely gorgeous and it complements the Glam palette perfectly. So this is absolutely a keeper. On to the last box, starting with ColourPop Stone Cold Fox. This is another one of my very favorite easy, cool, neutral palettes. I think it's become a classic. You know, I normally don't prefer these larger palettes, but this one is laid out so incredibly well. It's super easy to create a look if you just go down the columns. We have a nice pink column, sort of a taupey brown column, a taupey gray column, more of a silvery gray column, nice mushroomy tones, and a really pretty column with mauves and plums. Super, super easy to create a really pretty everyday look. Lovely mix of mattes and shimmers, and I've already said this, but I do think ColourPop formula is one of the best affordable formulas out there. The mattes are super, super blendable. The shimmers are buttery and really pretty on mature eyes. I do have a video showing this palette in action, and I will link that below. Tartelette Juicy. I purchased this the spring before last. I did a whole video with swatches and a really pretty eye look. As you know, I love the Tarte formula, and these pinks and these neutrals are just so pretty and easy to use. This particular palette was limited edition, so it's no longer available, but they do have a smaller, juicy Tartelette 12-pan palette with very similar, if not the same shades. BK Beauty True Beauty Palette is the creation of the lovely Lisa J, who has an awesome YouTube channel that I have been following for years. And she is the owner of BK Beauty. You know how much I love their brushes. Anyway, she came out with this palette a year or two ago. I love the formula, I love the size and the packaging. I will link my video review below. Some of these shades do lean just a little bit too warm for my cool neutral preferences, but there are some really pinks and purples and plums. I can get a really pretty look out of this. This is a keeper for sure. Plus, it has sentimental value because this is the first cosmetic I ever received in PR, and I absolutely adore Lisa. Oh my gosh, this Lorac Unzipped palette has been buried. I had my eye on this palette for years, and I finally purchased it quite a long time ago, triggered by Ulta 10 times points, but I really haven't used it since. I need to put this in an everyday makeup drawer and get to know it. An eyeshadow palette I purchased a couple of years ago on the recommendation of Lisa J is this Sephora Collection Eye Love palette. Super easy, basic, neutral, beginner, and mature eye friendly. 3 mattes, 3 soft satin shimmers, and a nice large pan of a blending shade. I have it in the color story Light Cool. It also comes in medium and deep cool, as well as light, medium, and deep warm. Something for everybody. Very, very affordable at $14, and I just checked Sephora. It is currently on sale for $7. I hope that doesn't mean they are discontinuing it. I enjoyed the I Love palette so much that I picked up the Sephora Collection I Love In Bloom palette. I have to say, the formula on the In Bloom isn't quite as good as the original I Love palettes. It's a little drier, a little bit more difficult to work with. No surprise, it does appear they are discontinuing this In Bloom line. They do have some pocket palettes, which I haven't tried, that appear to be replacing this line. Anyway, I am decluttering this. One of my oldest palettes is this Urban Decay Naked Basics 2 palette. All matte, cool neutral. You can see it is very well used and loved. It's pretty old, and like I said, I don't tend to reach for all matte palettes anymore, and I have all these shades in other palettes, so I am decluttering this. But I do recommend it. It is a nice palette. For sure, my bougiest, priciest palette is this beautiful Chantecaille Giraffe Quad. Another Kiki made me buy it. I did wait and pick it up at a good discount on sale. Absolutely love it. Gorgeous quality, super easy for an everyday polished neutral look. Matte, satin, shimmer. Gorgeous. Kiki recently reviewed the new Chantecaille Cougar Quad, which looks even a little bit cooler and a little bit deeper. It's on my wish list, but I will definitely wait for a sale. The Chantecaille Giraffe Quad is definitely a keeper. A much, much more affordable quad that I absolutely love is this ColourPop Sorbet palette. Definitely a quality difference between this and Chantecaille. ColourPop does have a bit of fallout, which I really don't mind, but I love the color story, and I love the beautiful looks that I can create with this $10 quad. Absolutely gorgeous. Love it. On the super affordable side are these tiny little Essence 6-pan palettes. I have My Rose Will Go On, and I like to mauve it. The formula is surprisingly good. Very little fallout, and the shimmers are soft and buttery. And the price, amazing, for under $5. And the packaging is compact and sturdy, which I very much appreciate. At one point, I had every single color story in the collection, but I have slowly rehomed them. These are my 2 favorite color stories, but I sort of wish I had kept the green. And lastly, another super affordable quad, e.l.f. Bite-Sized in the color story Rosewater. 2 mattes, 2 shimmers, great quality, easy to use, $3. You can't go wrong with these. We did it. Eyeshadow drawer done. I did manage to declutter 6 palettes and a couple of singles, and what I have left is neat and organized. I can't wait to start pulling these into my everyday makeup drawer, get to know and use and love all of my eyeshadows. Oh my gosh, that was a lot. Thank you so much for hanging in there with me. I really appreciate your time. And like I said earlier, this is a giveaway with 3 Sigma eyeshadow palettes. The first one is the Sigma Warm Neutrals full sized. I also have the Sigma Mini Ambiance, as well as the Sigma Mini Enchanted, which is the eyeshadow palette I am wearing today. I absolutely love it. All you have to do to enter the giveaway is share something that you love about fall in the comment box below. And it would also be helpful if you identify which of these palettes you're most interested in, or perhaps even the priority order. I will announce the winners verbally in an upcoming video. I will not reply to any comments saying that you have won. I know most of you are very familiar. There's a lot of scammers out there replying to comments saying someone won, asking them to call or text them. No YouTuber will ever ask you to call or text or send them money. There's scammers everywhere, not just YouTube, so please be careful out there. With all that being said, I hope you have a beautiful day and a wonderful week. Please take really good care of yourself so that you can stay safe, happy, and healthy. I look forward to visiting with you in the comments section, and I really hope to see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye.